Once upon a time, there was a boy who dreamed of flying. Not to get from one, but to look at the world from a different vantage point. To not remain shackled by the rules, to break free. He couldn't grow wings, so he did the next best thing. He hung a wire up in the air, and he walked. In 1974, he put this wire 450 meters high on the roof of the World Trade Center in New York. It was his theater in the sky. Our guest this morning is that man, the greatest high wire artist in history. But he's also more than that. He's a painter, a street juggler, a magician, an author, a lockpicker, a lawbreaker, and a myth maker. But more than anything, he is himself. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Monsieur Philippe Petit.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome
Thank
to the
you.
India Today Conclave.
It's nice to be here. First time in India.
Oh, that's lovely. We hope you keep coming back.
Oh, certainly. I hope this is your last question. I have a surprise before we really get into our conversation. The most asked question is, how could you be on the edge of the building and put your 2 feet on the wire and start walking? What was in your head and how is that possible? So I am going to answer now, but not by remembering, by reliving. So I will ask you to make an effort of imagination and to imagine that you are back in time, August 7th, 1974, and that you are with me at the top of the South Tower of the World Trade Center. And then this little silly little tube will symbolize the 30 feet long balancing pole that was weighing 45 pounds. So look at this. All of a sudden, the density in the air is no longer the same. Manhattan no longer spreads its infinity. The murmur of the city dissolves into a squall whose chill and power I do no longer feel. I lift the balancing pole, I joust it, maneuver it between my fingers to find its center, to accustom my arm to its weight, which I do before each of my performance. I approach the edge, I step over the beam, I place my left foot on the steel rope. The weight of my body rests on my right leg, anchored to the flank of the building. I still belong to the material world. Should I ever so slightly shift my weight to the left, my right leg will be unburdened, my right foot will freely meet the wire. On one side, the mass of a mountain, alive, I know. On the other, the universe of the clouds, the void, so full of unknown that it seems empty to us. At my feet, the path to the North Tower, 60 yards of wire rope, which sags, which sways, which vibrates, which rolls on itself, which is ice, which is 3 tons tight, ready to explode, ready to swallow me. An inner howl assails me, the wild longing to flee. But it is too late. The wire is ready. Decisively, my other foot sets itself onto the wire. Okay, so that was just a taste, a little taste of what was happening.
Philippe, you started your career, or your journey.
Yes, I'm glad you say that because I don't like the word career, profession. It's a life, you know. Sorry.
Yes, no, absolutely. As a person who would be on the streets of Paris, you used to ride your unicycle all around and you would do street juggling. How did that come to you? What was the reason for going down that path?
Well, actually, I started my performing life as a kid doing magic. I learned magic by myself. But then I discovered juggling, and what brought me to the streets, I think it was rebellion. Is nobody wanted to hire me as a teenager magician, juggler, and then wire worker, because I was too original. I was not using the costume and the music of the show business, another term that I never use. So I started juggling in the streets, and I felt completely free, and I created a silent comic character, and I still do it today.
You know, your Twitter profile says that you've been arrested more than 500 times.
Oh, you cannot believe what you found in Twitter. It's all lies.
It's your profile.
Yes, actually, I don't count anymore, but I am, in a silly way, I am proud of having been arrested more than 500 times, mostly for street juggling and for illegal wire walking, yeah.
So where did this streak come from? Did it come from the fact that your father, and tell me if I'm wrong, was in a prisoner of war camp and he broke out of there by tunneling through it? Is that correct?
Well, that's an act of rebellion and imagination and endurance, not necessarily an act of a poet, but my father was also a poet and a flyer, a pilot. So I'm sure I inherited little genes there. But no, the street was my answer to feel free when I was discovering a society that teaches you to behave, to belong, to not be free. But before that, in my magic, I was also, a free performer, a little kid, you know.
So what pulled you towards the wire? Why not stay with juggling? Why not just remain only do magic?
Magic brought me to juggling. Juggling brought me to the high wire because I was going to the theater, the variety, the musical, the circus to see more magicians and more jugglers. And one day I saw, oh no, actually the story is more beautiful. I didn't see, I heard. Some people say, there is a troupe of wire walker. And I say, what's that? I say, well, men and women that walk on thin air. Sometimes you don't even see the wire. So I thought, well, I am a wire walker because all my childhood I climbed trees, I put little ropes, I rappel down, I am a man of the air and a man of ropes. So that's how it naturally, everything in my life is natural. I didn't take a long list of professions and say, okay, dentist, engineer, oh, wire walker. No, I didn't do that. It's life who brought me where I am.
So when you started, how many times did you fall? Did you keep falling?
Another word I don't use because I have no use for it. You don't fall, or I don't fall. It's too dangerous to fall. I want to get to live to be very old. So anyway, no, when I practice, when I learn by myself without teachers, the rope first was between two trees, maybe like that. So I would not fall. This is stupid to fall. I would decide, I am losing my balance. I feel it's lost, I cannot retrieve it, so I turn and I jump. And if it's a little bit high later, I will jump and roll, to not hurt myself. But falling is a very bad idea.
How did you keep raising the bar? How long did it take for you to reach a point where it could be dangerous?
I hate sport metaphors. To raise the bar, yeah. Well, no, I know. It was not in my blood I'm going to use your sport metaphor, to raise the bar, to challenge, to try to compete. I know we live in a world of competition, the business, the sport, everything is to try to be better than the neighbor and faster, higher. And my world, while walking, before I entered into it, was made of that. The greatest wire walker, the most dangerous, the highest pyramid, the more somersault. And somehow the poet in me, so in a way I was lucky not to be born in the circus, rebel against all that. What I was interested when I was on the wire was not to make the people frightened, but to be so elegant and so natural on the wire like a bird that people will witness a miracle and they will be inspired rather than afraid or, astonished, So the technical prowess, look at that, I'm doing something that none of you can do, never interested me. And look at that, I am the best in the world. Well, people say that now, but I was not interested in the competition. And I think in art, the minute your goal is competition or money or fame, you're already not an artist anymore. But that's my feelings.
But once you started walking the wire, you weren't happy with just that. You wanted to walk it everywhere.
I'm
in different
really
places.
happy.
No, in different places. You were not that I can do this. You wanted to do it at different locations. Why was this? Why was this need?
Well, again, it was my personality. I became a young wire walker by 16 years old, and I had a strange costume. I was wearing all black. I had strange music for the circus. It was classical, piano and trumpet. So nobody, no impresario in the circus wanted to hire me. And I was not into making the people applaud or competing. And, now you're going to see something unique in the world. It cost many people their lives. And that was not me. I was a very different person. So I didn't belong. So to impose myself, but again, it was not really, it was an intuition, was not conscious. I started looking at beautiful place that I think need a wire, and I started thinking of putting a wire without permission. So the few walks without permission I did in France were completely unknown. I would sneak in for an art exhibit, or I did a few beautiful places like the Grand Palais, the Palais des Sports. Nobody heard of those until I put my rope between the towers of Notre Dame. And then suddenly, and again, I didn't care, I didn't want that, but suddenly I was in the front page all over the world, and they called me le funambule de Notre Dame, the wire walker of Our Lady.
Is it true that you were sitting in a dentist's office when you saw the pictures of these two towers that were going to be built, and you said, this is where I want to walk?
Yes, it is very true, and the two films, Man on Wire, for which I got the Oscar, the documentary a few years back, and now they make this movie, The Walk. They have that as a scene, So it is true. And what I love about that is that when you have a dream, usually the object of your dream is in front of you. But here, the object of my dream didn't exist yet. The towers were not built, So it was a different kind of dream.
Why did it become this obsession? Did you start believing that these towers are being built for me?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. During the 6.5 years of my quest for that, I would actually call the building my towers. Now, of course, after they disappear, I never say that again, I say our towers. But my friends will call me and say, Philippe, your towers are almost finished to be built. You have to do it soon, that type of thing. So, let's call it obsession, and we go back to the motto of all my life, passion. Really, passion is what I think should be taught in school. I have a lot of subjects that are not being taught in school that I would love one day to have my own university. There will be a course in chance. There will be lessons about mistakes, the most important professors in life. There will be something about building your dreams, a course on impatience. Forget geography and mathematics. You need a little bit of that in life, but you need more heart and soul and passion.
Before we start talking in detail about the WTC walk, let me take you back then to the time when you were a street performer and you used to draw a circle on the ground.
A perfect circle.
A perfect circle, sorry.
Two people on earth who could draw a perfect circle, Leonardo da Vinci and I. So you can tell now that to be humble is not my forte.
So you drew this perfect circle and you didn't let anybody enter it.
Yes.
It was your territory.
Actually, what I did is, let's say I'm in Italy you know, in a grand plaza, and I will come with my unicycle, and I will go around, and the people would think I will go into them, but I go around. So I do that to wake up the people, to make them see me. Then I will stop at a place that I knew before will be my theater for the afternoon. And then I'll take my chalk. I am dressed all in black with an old top hat, and I start doing a circle of chalk. Now, of course, after years, as I just told, my circle was perfect. But sometimes when I finish the circle, I look at it and I'm so glad. I go to the center, and I made a little cross, and I place myself in the center, and I look at my perfect circle. That's the way I work, you know. It's completely different than show business jugglers. So by that time, after I look at my circle, I look up, and there are hundreds of people around me. But I don't pay attention to them. I start cleaning my circle, because how can you perform on a stage full of cups and paper and all that? So I will go like this, and I will go like that, you know, and I will improvise in a silent way. For example, one day, I found a leaf on the floor. That's not good. So I took the leaf, and I look up, there was a tree, there was a branch. So I have a bag full of little tricks. So some tricks I know what to do with, and some tricks, they are awaiting. Okay, so I took the leaf, I climbed the tree, I had taken in my bag a little bandage, you know, and I climbed, and I went on the branch, and I placed back the leaf with a bandage, because the poor tree had lost his leaf. That's the kind of thing. Or sometimes I will juggle, and when I juggle, I have eyes all around. Okay, because of the police and all those things, you know, and the thieves and all that. So anyway, one day I am juggling and I stop, because right here, there is a little ant. There is a little ant in my circle. So I go to my bag, I take a chalk, and I make a little highway like this with an arrow for the little ant. Now, this could be a disaster, or it could be fabulous. Well, that day it was fabulous, because a little ant followed my road and went out of the circle. So I didn't go on and on. So I say that to show that my personality and my presentation were so different. It was poetry, and it was, comic improvisation, and voila.
But it was also your territory, right?
Oh, my territory, absolutely. The notion of territory is very important to me. Actually, I wrote 10 books, but my last book is called Creativity, the Perfect Crime, because I think creativity is a rebellious thing, and it has a whole chapter on territory. Territory is very important because it also has to do with body language. Look, here we are very comfortable, we are protected, this is our stage, nobody is going to come on stage. And look at those people over there, you know, I want to see you. Let's see, a little bit of light. Well, those people have their territory. I'm never going to go down to them. It will be wrong, you know. So let's see. How are you? Very nice meeting you. Oh, this great front row. You see, the front row is a dangerous territory. Let me just try it. Oh, yeah, because at any time, I can ask somebody, please come on stage. You know, hello? You know, I could say, come on stage and I'm going to do something. So you guys here on the front row are very courageous, okay? You are on the front line. Now, of course, let's see, in the back. Well, in the back, I am not saying you're a bunch of cowards, but I'm not sure I understand. Very good, very good. May I sit right here? You have a view, it's nice, but I mean, why are you so much in the back? Oh, I know, in case the man on stage is boring, you can escape discreetly, you know, this is very good. Sometimes in my lecture, I break the territory and I go on behind the stage or in the audience and I do some of my speech there. So the front row are now the last one, and you guys that are completely hidden and comfortable, you're now in the front row, you know. Oh, sir, I want to try something with you about equilibrium. Can you stand up for 1 second, okay? And I want you to be very relaxed, okay? And now you look up, right? And then you put your arms parallel, like this, parallel. Now I'm going to move your arms like this. No, far away, far away. And now bring them back perfectly parallel. Oh, you have good balance. Oh, that's great. Very nice, very nice. Thank you very much. And what time is it? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So you see, that's why I never have a watch. If I want the time, I take it. That was a nice watch. You know, I am in that habit. I give it back. Yeah. It's silly, you know. Where were we? Territory.
Territory, yes. And in this territory, you also consider what you just did, pickpocketing an art.
Oh, yes, and I wrote a book. Unfortunately, this book is only in French. I would like it to be translated. It's called The Art of the Pickpocket. And of course, there is a chapter about how to protect yourself from the pickpocket, but it's not how to become a pickpocket, my book. Again, it's technique and poetry mixed, because that's the only way I can be passionate about in art. So the art of the pickpocket for me is the ballet of the fingers. You know, and it's incredible. Can you stand up 1 second?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say there is a bad street juggler over there, and we're looking, okay? And there's a big crowd, and I go like this, excuse me. And you see, I am looking, but in my back, my hand is actually perfect to go into here, you know, and I will not pull your wallet. I will wait that you go away. By going away, you give me your wallet. I accept it, you know. So all that is in my book, and it's a book illustrated by a collection. I have a fabulous collection of pickpockets through the age of art world, and they are reproduced in a book.
So did you start doing pickpocketing on stage and in shows, that you don't have to do it on the streets?
So that I don't have to go to jail? Yes and no. The truth is, and if I were talking to students, I might change my words, but here we have adults mostly, so the truth is that for a few months in Paris, I was a criminal pickpocket. I was a real pickpocket. But the idea to take something and steal, never really, so I managed to give it back. You know, I have to tell you, do we have the time for a 1 minute little scene?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So here it is. I'm 15 years old, and I just learned pickpocket, you know, practicing and all that. And I finished my street juggling, and I walk in the Boulevard Saint-Germain in Paris. September, it's late, there is the moon. And I walk there, and there's nobody. Although, no, there is one man over there. And this man over there, he's, maybe after a day of work, you know, he's in his thought, and he's, you know, he's a bit tired, maybe he's going home, and he minds his own business. So I am here, I look at the man, and I see there is something here, like a big wallet full of money. You know, that's the eye of the pickpocket. So the pickpocket needs to have something in his hand, you know, like it's called a shield, you know, a newspaper or a map. You know, sometime in a tourist thing, you go say, excuse me, where is the church? And it allows my hand to go underneath. So if somebody in life comes with a map, move away, you know. So anyway, I grab in a garbage, I grab a newspaper, it's my shield. And then I go like this with my shield, and I bump into the guy, and he says, excuse me. Now that is a great compliment for a pickpocket, when you bump into somebody and they say, oh, excuse me. Okay, now of course I have his wallet underneath the shield, the newspaper. Now what I do, the man continues to walk. I cross the street, I run ahead of him, and I cross the street again, so now I am here, and he's coming, and he doesn't know anything, his life has not changed. So what I do is I take his wallet, and I put it in a porte-cochere, this beautiful old porch doors we have in the streets in Paris, right? So now here's the man, which is normal, it's human, you know. He's walking, he sees a wallet. Well, you will do like him, he approach, and the first thing he does, he looks over his shoulder. There is nobody watching, so he takes the wallet. it's normal. And then he goes into the shadow of another door, and then he opens the wallet. Now I know I'm behind the tree, I can watch him. And he sees the picture of his wife, and he sees driver's license, and he becomes mad, you know? So that's how I did it.